I think the services that hospice provides that people might be reluctant or be unaware of is the fact that it isn't the last 48 hours that prepare us to die. It's the time frame when the medical model changes and it becomes more of a solitary journey for the family and the patient, that hospice probably is most appropriate and most important. Because we help them make that journey possible with comfort, with maybe fulfillment of some wishes that they have that they might not be able to achieve in some other kind of medical setting. You know, we always try to encourage people to look at hospice as, you know, as it says in the advertisement, as a way to live until you die, not just to prepare to die, but to prepare to live each day more fully until the inevitable does occur. I think that the hospice pieces of good medical care, the good psychological care, the good supportive care, the pastoral care, and then eventually the bereavement care, finish the whole. And that's the whole of someone's life. So you recognize it through the end of the person's life and into the living memories of them. You hope that you can provide all of that much sooner than 48 hours. And so I think people are getting it. I think people are starting to realize that it isn't a stigma. That was the word I was trying to find before. That it isn't a stigma to be in hospice. That it's a good place to be. I can remember a lovely couple, and they were I don't know if there are not any special families. They are all special families, and one just happened to come to mind that the wife was a wonderful caretaker, and they had a room in the back of the house that gave them the most space to work in because it required the hospital bed and he required some other equipment in that while he was still able to walk around, and then eventually he was bedridden. But he had been a gentleman who had lived on his front porch, and he couldn't get to the front porch. And his neighbors missed him, and he missed them. And there was, you know, they'd stop in, but then they'd feel as if they were intruding, or it wasn't the right time, or he was sleeping. And so there was always these missed opportunities for this desire to be part of the neighborhood again. And it was this wonderful spring day, and we were out doing rounds, and the staff nurse who was at the house assigned to the family at the time said, "Is there some way we can get this hospital bed out there? Or get him in something that we can get him on the front porch?" So we borrowed a chaise lounge from another neighbor's house, and we got some help from the neighbors, and we brought this gentleman out all cleaned up and out onto the front porch. And the daughters came over and brought, you know, a little cake or something. And there was almost like this picnic atmosphere. And it was just absolutely wonderful. And basically, what it was goodbye. But someone listened to what he needed. And then we acted on the need, and we gave him something precious. It wasn't medical, and it wasn't anything other than a chance to say goodbye to people he loved. And we gave him control. And I think control is a big issue with dying, with people losing so much control because of the physical changes and the psychosocial changes that occur with them. That if you can find those little things that are just bright spots in your life, you're doing hospice. And that's what I tell people who say, I can't get this family member or this friend to want the service right now. And I say, well, then do hospice yourself. Because it's really about being present for the other person. It's not our needs that are important, it's theirs. This is their time. As I watch people of great faith, I think it made me realize that there is something beyond us that, and whatever you choose to refer to it as, is important for us to know that there's something greater than us, and that we're fulfilling some piece of that greatness, that goodness, and that it's universal. As many people die in different ways and have different faiths, there's something very common yet about that ending that I find remarkable. And I think it's probably those last 24 or 48 hours when people are really more it's more internal, that last piece of their life. It's sacred. It's a sacred time. We're privileged if we can be around them. I think it's mystical. And I don't mean to sound, I don't know, off in any way, but I think there is something very sacred, something very, very important about those moments before death. That if you are privileged enough to be there, you gain from it. It's not something that depletes you. I think it's something that renews you, helps you see the world better, to love more deeply, care about another person. It's inspiring. And I loved that piece of hospice because it was good for me. And every person I met in hospice gave me something, whether it was the patient, whether it was the family, whether it was the staff. Everybody gave me something. It was a gift to be with them.